Hello, and welcome back to the final lesson of 6 in Hacken's Do Your Own Research 101 crypto sessions brought to you in conjunction with Third Academy. Today, we are going to show you how you can check the security of any project. When people dive into the digital world, the topic of security is often discussed as the afterthought. The utility of the app often prevails, and many people choose to use less secure products if they give them more streamlined user experience. As for companies, many are ready to cut corners to quickly grow their user base, and often security is something that is discussed later in the development cycle. This pattern of behavior leads to a situation where users are satisfied until problems occur. It often happens abruptly, spoiling their previous positive experience as well as compromising their valuable assets and information. In Web3, a hack of any application may lead to the loss of funds, either invested in the D app or even those which are located on the user's wallet. The database breach can take away users' privacy and expose them to the possibility of being robbed in real life. It now, unfortunately, happens all the time, and our goal is to be mindful about the possibilities of such attacks. A Web3 researcher is not necessarily a security expert, but has to understand possible vectors of attack. By knowing the most common ways a D app can fail, a researcher can study the documentation of a project and see if the main security bases are covered or not. The best place to start the analysis is by going through the documentation of a crypto project. In most cases, you will be able to find the link to documentation on the crypto project's website or their GitHub. The absence of such documentation should be a flashing red warning sign. Sufficient crypto documentation should be comprehensive, well organized, and addressing all crucial aspects such as project overview, list of smart contracts, tokenomics, community engagement, roadmap, and team. By fostering transparency and maintaining active communication channels with the community, ample documentation can promote informed decision making, facilitate adoption, and encourage a thriving ecosystem. Quality of information within the documentation. The company may have required sections listed in their documentation, but the true test comes from the veracity of the information in each section. The advantage of a blockchain is that if a company discusses the structure of their smart contracts, it can be then checked independently. Here you are looking at Game FI project that on the surface provides an explanation to what they are doing. But in reality, it has no significant information either about the token or about the smart contract structure. However, if a company hides the structure of their smart contracts, initial token distribution, or uses a lot of pretty words to describe what they are capable of without detailed explanation of the practical implication, that is a worrying sign. This leads to a misunderstanding when CoinMarketCap points to the token that Etherscan considers to be malignant. While there are many crypto projects with subpar documentation, others are doing their best to include the list of all smart contracts that constitutes every version of a project. An example of such effort may be Kyber Network, that has several services, and all of them have a page that lays down the whole architecture, including testnet. The same clear information can be found in a Uniswap documentation. They are very meticulous in describing all their smart contracts for every version of the product they have. Audits play a significant role in Web3 project security. They involve an independent third party examining a project's code to find potential vulnerabilities. The goal is to ensure the system is secure and reliable, keeping users' assets and information safe. For instance, when researching a DeFi project like Aave, you should look for information about their most recent security audits. Audits are not bulletproof, but they are an essential component of a project security strategy. Regular audits can help identify the addressed vulnerabilities before they become a significant issue. Audits are not bulletproof, but they are an essential component of a project security strategy. Regular audits can help identify the addresses vulnerabilities before they become a significant issue. As a researcher, you should be aware of the audit history and the reputation of the auditing firms involved to gauge a project's commitment to security. Be mindful of projects that may boast they passed the audit, even though they have not addressed the issues that audit highlighted. There are multiple types of audits a Web3 company may go through. The most common and necessary is the smart contract audit, an investigation in functions, potential vulnerabilities, and unintended functionality any smart contract might have. Similarly, important is the blockchain protocol audit, a check on the functionality of an architecture of an underlying protocol. If dApps are running as intended but the underlying infrastructure is faulty, it's still a huge risk factor to consider. Speaking of dApps, an audit of a front end of a dApp is another important part of a thorough security audit. If the user interface can be exploited, it can lead to large losses in funds, as it has happened with Badger DAO. There are several other types of audits that a centralized Web3 company should go through, from proof of reserves and proof of liabilities to an industry standard or CCSS audit. Now that we're aware of the types of audits possible, let's look at the scope and some limitations. For example, when we talk about the smart contracts audit, we have to keep in mind that a crypto project often consists of many contracts. Pay attention to which contracts are audited. It can be core contracts of a business or just a token contract. While going through blockchain protocol audit, it's important to note which parts of it are checked. What is the auditor's analysis of the codebase, architecture, consensus mechanisms? Although you might not be able to adequately analyze the severity of issues found in the audit, you can notice whether the crypto project has addressed the problems and has fixed them. Whenever there is talk about proof of reserves, also notice if there is proof of liabilities. The first part of an audit is almost useless without the second part. A company has to be able to prove that they hold as much funds as they've been provided by the customers. Another crucial aspect of an audit is the time when it is done. An audit done a year ago may already be outdated due to the technological stack introduced to the blockchain network or vulnerabilities discovered during the year. An audit done 2 years ago is almost useless. A case study of Audio's hack may provide a glimpse of why it is important to keep the audits relevant. The Audio smart contract was checked in 2020, then some other parts were checked in 2021. But the attack happened in the middle of 2022, 2 years after the deployment. New types of attacks are emerging all the time, and sometimes if a highly forked piece of open source code is hacked, most of the copies of this code will be vulnerable and have to be upgraded as well. There are many reasons why a crypto company may be losing the validity of an audit. Some examples are: the code that has been audited was upgraded. Any upgrades to the code makes an audit obsolete. Smart contracts that have been deployed are different from contracts that have been audited. Some companies are using the name of an auditor as a marketing strategy. Issues found in audit weren't addressed and patched. Enough time the audit has passed, usually 1 to 2 years. Basically, any change in code after the initial check requires another round of auditing. Bug bounties are essential tools for enhancing security in Web3 projects, as they incentivize developers and security researchers to find and report vulnerabilities in exchange for rewards. These programs help projects identify weaknesses in their codebase and address them before they can be exploited, contributing to a more robust and secure ecosystem. Web3 projects with bug bounty programs demonstrate a proactive approach to security and a commitment to protecting their users' assets and data. By offering rewards for discovering vulnerabilities, projects can leverage the skills and knowledge of a wider community to bolster their defenses against attacks. If a crypto project is hacked or exploited, the attacker has a choice to either return the funds for a percent of the assets stolen or take it all and deal with the consequences. Bug bounties are loosely divided into two categories: self-held and community-based. The first category is hoping to rally the users of a platform to search for bugs in the program. An example of such bug bounty would be the Graph. Some of these programs may have very lucrative rewards for finding critical issues, like the one held by Ethereum. In other cases, a company would prefer to use the help of a community like Hacken or Immunify, a group of advanced hackers who can be more effective at finding the bugs than the regular platform users. In order to find out whether a crypto company has a bug bounty or not, the first thing you need to do is to check both documentation and the footer of their website. Most of the bug bounties are public, and if a crypto project has it, they are interested in promoting it as it gathers more attention of white hat hackers. Another option is to go through bug bounty communities like Hacken or Immunify. If a company has a bounty program with these communities, it will show you all the relevant details about them. And lastly, you can just Google the name of a company you're interested in, adding the word bug bounty. Another activity that strengthens the overall security of a company is penetration testing. It is a process of simulated cyber attack on a system trying to breach through security measures by utilizing sets of reconnaissance and exploitation tools, vulnerability scanners, and other ways to get access to the system. After the test, specialists who were executing it provide a report with a description of all found vulnerabilities as well as the methods of fixing it. The key difference between penetration testing and something like an audit is the multi-level approach to detecting security issues. Pen testing is usually done by simulating both internal and external environments of a project, then to find ways to disrupt the service from many angles. There are three main approaches to pen testing, called black box, white box, and grey box. The first approach probes the running program without knowing any internal structure, while the white box method looks at the source code and tries to detect vulnerabilities there. The grey box is a mixture of both. This proactive testing is especially useful in assessing centralized Web3 companies as they can be most vulnerable to the security breach of their application and key management. Despite the whole plethora of security testing, the most common way of attacking a service is to target the human that controls it. By exploiting our trust, curiosity, or lack of awareness, an attacker can do a significant amount of damage. One of the most prominent examples of such an attack was the Ronan Bridge exploit, when a victim had access to the funds located on the bridge. His machine was infected by a file masquerading as a CV, then only to compromise the access to the bridge. This is where true decentralization shines, by giving away the power to control funds unilaterally. A crypto project significantly decreases the chance of being exploited through social engineering methods. Thank you for watching this week's course on how to check the security of a project. Remember, your success in crypto begins with informed decisions, and that starts with doing your own research. We are Hacken, and we are here to help you and the industry verify and gain trust in Web3 transactions. We look forward to seeing you at our next live event from the Third Academy Metaverse this week, Thursday, November 16th at 4:30 p.m. UTC. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more valuable insights into the world of cryptocurrency. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay ahead in the crypto game.